You started the medication. The number on the scale finally moved. And somewhere around month 4 or 5, you felt something you had not felt in years: hope. And then it slowed down, or it stalled. Or you started asking the question you were almost afraid to say out loud: what happens when I stop taking this? If that's you, I want you to hear this clearly. You're not doing it wrong, and you're not alone in asking. This question shows up in my practice from 2 different women, and I want to name both of them because I suspect one of them is you watching right now and wondering if this video is really for you. It is. The first woman has struggled with her weight most of her life, sometimes for reasons rooted in her own biology, sometimes because a medical condition or a treatment made an already hard fight harder. The second woman finished cancer treatment months or years ago and is living through what we now call chemopause, a body that came out of treatment metabolically changed in ways almost nobody warned her about. Different roads, same landing spot, a body that doesn't respond normally, no matter how correctly she is doing everything she was told to do. My name is Dr. Helena. I'm a double board certified physician in physical medicine and rehabilitation and lifestyle medicine with culinary medicine training. I am the founder of Alliance Meta Rehab Associates, a physician-led telemedicine practice built around metabolic health and weight management and cancer survivorship care. And I need to tell you why I care. I care about this particular question so much because I'm a triple negative breast cancer survivor. I know what it is to sit in an exam room as the patient, not the physician, and to be told that my labs look fine while my body told a completely different story. I also spent years, long before my diagnosis, in the exhausting cycle of losing weight and watching my body fight its way back to the point where it started. I've lived on both sides of this conversation. I also had a cancer rehab clinic. So when I tell you a prescription is not the whole plan, I'm not speaking in theory. Today, I want to walk you through what is actually happening when a GLP-1 medication works, why the maintenance phase trips up so many patients, and what it takes to build something that lasts long after the prescription changes or ends. Your success plan. Let's start with what these medications are genuinely good at, because I do not want this to turn into a video that talks you out of a tool that has helped a ton of my patients. GLP-1 medications slow gastric emptying, increase satiety, and act on appetite regulation centers in the brain. This year, we even saw the FDA approve oral forms, pills, and early research shows that these oral small molecule GLP drugs can cross into the brain directly to suppress cravings, not just regulate hunger from the gut. That's a real meaningful advance, especially for patients who have struggled with injections for access. There's also new data out of this year's European Congress on Obesity showing that greater weight loss on these medications is associated with the measurably lower risk of downstream health complications. That's not a small finding. That's validation for a lot of women who have been told that their weight was a cosmetic issue instead of a medical one. Here's what I need you to understand though. And this is the part that almost never gets said out loud in the 15-minute appointment where the prescription gets written. A GLP-1 medication changes your appetite signaling. It does, but it does not by itself change what happens at the cellular level. It does not repair a cellular environment that has been dealing with chronic inflammation, a sluggish metabolic engine, or hormonal disruption for years. It quiets the noise long enough for you to make different choices. It doesn't make those choices for you, and it does not rebuild the foundation underneath. Now, I've been telling my patients this for years, long before it was a talking point, and now the research is finally catching up to what those of us treating real bodies already knew. The medication opens a window. What you build inside that window is what determines whether the results hold. Now, here's the pattern I see constantly. A patient does beautifully for the first several months. Then the weight loss slows. Or she and her physician start a taper. And suddenly it feels like the ground is shifting under her because nobody prepared her for what maintenance actually requires. This is where I want to speak directly to my cancer survivor patients for a moment, because your version of this is often more complicated and it deserves to be named specifically. If you went through chemotherapy, radiation, aromatase inhibitor therapy, or androgen deprivation therapy, your body did not just lose time to illness. The research on this is not new. It is just rarely translated into plain language for patients. Studies on cisplatin-based chemotherapy show measurable increases in visceral fat and insulin resistance within months of treatment. Women on aromatase inhibitors show significantly lower insulin sensitivity and higher body fat compared to women who never took them. And the large body of research on the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, the system that governs your stress hormones, shows that cancer treatment can leave that system dysregulated, sometimes for years afterwards. Translation? Your body was recalibrated by treatment in ways that show up as stubborn weight, fatigue, and a stress response that runs hot even when nothing stressful is happening. That's not in your head. That is measurable physiology. And if your weight struggle instead comes from a lifelong pattern or from a different medical condition or medication that complicated things along the way, the maintenance phase can feel just as unfair because you did the hard part and your body still is not behaving the way you were told it should. In both cases, the medication was never going to be the thing that held the line. What holds the line is the cellular environment underneath it. Whether your mitochondria are producing energy efficiently, whether inflammation has been addressed instead of masked, and whether your body composition, not just your weight, has actually shifted toward more muscle and less visceral fat. This is where I want to introduce the framework I built my practice around, something I call mitocellular restoration. It's not a brand slogan, it's a clinical approach to addressing cellular inflammation, mitochondrial function, hormonal balance, and gut health as the actual metabolic foundation your body needs, whether or not you are also on a GLP-1. 3 things matter most here. First, precision nutrition. Not a generic meal plan copied from a handout, and not calorie cutting as if everybody processes food identically. Precision nutrition means building a plan around your labs, your history, your treatment background if you have one, and your real life. Now, a woman 2 years out from chemotherapy and a woman managing a lifelong metabolic condition need genuinely different nutritional strategies, even if the scale shows the same number. Second, resistance training and body composition, not just weight. I care far less about what the scale says than what is happening to your muscle mass and your visceral fat. Muscle is metabolically active tissue. It is the engine that determines how your body handles food, glucose, and hormones for the rest of your life. This matters enormously for GLP-1 patients, specifically because these medications can cause loss of lean muscle mass alongside fat if resistance training and a muscle preservation protocol, MPP as we like to call it, is not built into the plan deliberately. Third, tools that give you information, real information instead of guesses. This is where digital therapeutics are starting to earn their place. It can include everything up to continuous glucose monitors, sleep tracking, inflammatory markers, followed over time. Of course, we're looking at your body composition, as I said before, and we're tracking it, and we have apps to follow it. Not to create obsession with numbers, but to replace guessing with data, so we can see what your specific body is doing and adjust before 3 months go by with no answers. This is what happens at the cellular level when all 3 of these are in place together. Inflammation goes down, mitochondrial function improves. Hormones start to recalibrate, and the results from a GLP-1 or from lifestyle change alone actually hold instead of reversing the moment life gets busy or a taper begins. I want you to picture something with me for a moment. A year from now, you are not white-knuckling your way through a maintenance phase, terrified of what happens if a prescription changes. You know your labs. You know what your body needs specifically because someone finally built a plan around your actual physiology instead of a generic protocol. And your energy is not something you are rationing to get through the day. And whether your story started with a lifelong struggle or with a cancer diagnosis that rearranged your metabolism without your permission, you are not managing a body that works against you. You are living in one that finally works with you. It's what I have watched happen in my own life and in the lives of the patients I treat every week when the cellular foundation gets addressed instead of skipped. If you're on a GLP-1 right now or considering one and you have that quiet worry about what happens after, I built a short assessment for exactly this moment. It's called the Weight Loss Roadblock Quiz, and it takes about 3 minutes to show you specifically what is standing between where you are and a metabolic foundation that actually holds. If what you just heard about visceral fat, insulin resistance, inflammation, mitochondrial dysfunction, or stress hormone system landed close to home, then go to my website, talk to Dr. Helena, and book a consult or take our Weight Loss Roadblock Quiz. I look forward to hearing from you. Take care of yourself. You deserve real answers.